Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer announced the Democratic plan with full theatrics, standing at the Senate floor surrounded by fellow Democrats, signaling unity after their recent electoral wins. Schumer's proposal included two main points. First, a one-year extension of expiring Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare, subsidies. And second, the creation of a bipartisan committee to discuss long-term healthcare funding after the government reopens. Schumer framed the offer as a practical solution rather than a negotiation, stressing that extending existing tax credits is something Congress does regularly. "We're ready to pass a funding bill that keeps the government open and protects healthcare affordability," he said, adding that now the ball is in the Republicans' court. Senate Majority Leader John Thune and his Republican colleagues weren't convinced. Within hours of Schumer's announcement, GOP senators dismissed the proposal outright, calling it a distraction from the real issue, reopening the government without policy conditions attached. Thune described it as a non-starter, arguing that Democrats were using the shutdown to push a healthcare agenda instead of focusing on a clean funding bill. Republicans maintained their stance that negotiations over healthcare, spending, and taxes should happen only after the government is fully operational. The rejection reflected ongoing frustration on both sides, as previous House-passed resolutions had already failed multiple times in the Senate. This latest standoff adds to the growing uncertainty in Washington. The shutdown has already disrupted federal agencies, delayed paychecks for government workers, and stirred public concern over essential services. Democrats see their proposal as a way to pair reopening the government with immediate relief for families facing higher healthcare costs. Republicans, meanwhile, accuse Democrats of political posturing. With 14 failed votes on short-term funding bills, the pressure is mounting for both sides to show progress. The debate isn't just about keeping lights on in government buildings. It's about which party can claim credit for protecting Americans' pocketbooks heading into another election cycle. As the standoff continues, all eyes are on whether either side will budge before the next major deadline. Analysts say the Democrats' move, though rejected, could help frame them as the party pushing for affordability and cooperation, while Republicans focus on fiscal restraint and procedural control. For everyday Americans, though, the political chess match means more waiting for services to resume, for lawmakers to compromise, and for a sign that Washington can still get things done. Whether Schumer's offer marks a turning point or just another stalemate remains to be seen. But one thing is clear: the fight to reopen the government is far from over, and the clock is still ticking. Imagine Washington, D.C. on a Friday afternoon, tensions high, cameras rolling, and political leaders clashing over how to keep the government running. That's exactly what happened as Senate Democrats, led by Chuck Schumer, unveiled their own plan to end the government shutdown. Their proposal? A one-year extension of Obamacare subsidies aimed at helping millions of Americans afford health insurance while reopening federal operations. But almost as quickly as it was introduced, Senate Republicans shot it down, calling it a non-starter. The divide highlights just how far apart both parties remain, even as the country faces another costly government shutdown.